Hey, cutie. Oh, she's watching her daddy. So cute.
Okay.
There's Michelle. Let's see.
I think Rosie's going to cook with us.
Oh, yay. Nice. Yeah, they've become quite the little balabustas.
Oh, I heard.
Yeah, they're I think more advanced than Kimmy. Diane, you look so lovely. You look so pretty.
Thank you.
Hey. Hey. You say hi, Diane? Hey, sweetie.
Do we have more people coming, Martina?
Well, there should be a few more, but I think
We'll
maybe
give it like,
It is an
you want to give
awful
it like
cute
2 more
baby.
minutes, Martina?
yes, and then I think you can go ahead.
That is an awful cute baby.
Thank you so much.
If you blink, they'll be driving like this one.
Yeah.
She's driving to Dairy Queen.
You should know that Mark is the baby whisperer, and he will take care of anyone and everyone's babies. And he's like the best. Next time you're around, call Mark Burnett.
Oh, that's amazing.
I
Yeah.
love babies.
Come back to St. Louis.
Diane, how many aprons would you say you have?
They're all hanging in there. I think I have maybe 6 of them.
Oh,
But that
cool.
one has your logo, right?
Yes.
Well, let's see. Wow, I knew she had her own merch. I knew it.
She does.
Amanda got this for me. But yeah, that's my little.
Well, what do you think, Martina? Should we go ahead and get started?
Yes, I would say go ahead.
All right, so we're going to do a little housekeeping first. If everyone can make sure that they're muted, and it's just easier if everyone just stays, can stay muted during the program unless you have a question, and unmute. So I'm Amanda Stein, and I'm going to be talking tonight about some different ways to make your Seder more interactive and fun.
Daughter.
And then I'm going to introduce my mom, Diane. Mom, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Diane, and we've been doing Dishing with Diane, and I think this is our, Martina, is this the 2nd year or the 3rd year?
I think this is year 3.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun, and we've found different things to make each time. And I started a company that I bake out of my home, and I bake challah and Jewish desserts, and I bake them regular and gluten-free, and any other allergen that anyone might have, I can accommodate. So yeah, this is really fun for me. I love this.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a welcome from our wonderful rabbis, and then we're going to talk about different ways to make your Seder interactive. We'll go into breakout rooms with a chance to share what you already do or what you're going to implement, and then we'll have our cooking demo. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful rabbis.
Thanks, Amanda. Sorry, we just realized the new puppy has been casually eating
Eating my
Michael's shoe under the table. Oh, no.
It's a high quality shoe, but still.
And Rabbi, they only go after one shoe. And when he finishes that shoe, he'll go to another pair and just pick one shoe.
That's why we should just let him have
the
this
introduction
one.
that we planned.
So, anyway, it's so nice to see everyone. So I just want to say, I know that momentarily you'll do some breakout rooms, but I know some of the people that we have Alex Coburn, who's new. So Alex, so glad you're here. And Nancy, who I was just talking to today, because this is going to be her first Seder. So I was like, oh, Diane will hook you up with some of the things you need to know. But one of the things that I was saying to Nancy that I feel like is sort of worth saying before you get started is that one of the really hard things about Passover is that Passover is not a temple holiday. right? So Passover tends to be a holiday that you do at home. And so even though sometimes we can give you, oh, he's, oh, sorry,
Oh.
the dog is like so bad. Okay. So like, so like this is a holiday that that we can tell you sort of how to do it, but because traditionally you don't have a Seder at the synagogue, it can also be one that's a little bit challenging and overwhelming and a little bit hard for people, because if you've never done it before, or you are living in a new city, or you're with different people, it can be hard to do it together. So I want to offer first just sort of the like little bit of a sad caveat, which is just to say that of course we can't do a Seder together this year, but by next year we feel very confident we will all be back together again. And at least now we get to do some of these things together and to spend some time together. And yeah, anything you want to say? I know you're thinking about the dog. So terrible.
I just want to say that we are really very, very fortunate because experiencing Diane's food is part of every Shabbos delight and has been for a while for us. So I'm not going to say how long, but it's been so long that it feels like it's been forever, and that's a very sweet thing. And I would also say that this is also a holiday that has sitting down and eating and telling stories. And I feel like what could be more authentically Jewish than that? Although we always argue about what exactly is the most delicious thing. So who can be the better judge? I will leave that to both you and our teacher tonight, more Diane.
Well, thank you, rabbis. We really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here for a second. Let me just get out of this. All right. Martina, can you see that? Okay. So we are going to talk about some ways that you can make your Seder more interactive and relevant. Passover is one of my favorite holidays just because we get together and you're telling the story and singing songs, and my family always really worked hard to make it fun and interactive no matter what age. So one of the ways is round robin reading. So I think a lot of times in movies and even traditional Seders, it's the man of the family, the grandfather leading the Seder, and everyone's sort of just following along, maybe joining in on certain prayers. But another way to engage everyone in your Seder would be to go around the table and everybody having turns to read different parts. And that's kind of what, I'm also a teacher, so that's kind of where round robin, that's what it's called, round robin reading comes from. Seder supplements is another way. So even if you choose a Haggadah that you really like, no Haggadah is probably perfect, I would say. And there are lots of organizations that put out different supplements. So there are things like, we're going to talk about some more actually in just a second. Sorry, hang on one second. Yeah, we're going to talk about some more in just a second, but there are lots of organizations that put out a lot of different Seder supplements that you can add to your Haggadah to make it more personalized and more meaningful to you. We're going to talk about in a minute some different toys and games, even for adults, no matter what age you are. This can make your table beautiful and make your Seder a little bit more fun. And then songs. There are, if you just do a simple Google search for Passover songs, there's, hi Drew. There are simple Passover songs, and there are songs, or traditional Passover songs, and then there's songs, you know, people have written Passover songs to take me out to the ball game, to the same tune as Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And these are just ways that you can engage more people into your Seder through music. So Seder supplements, there's a bunch that I listed here. So one would be Seder plate edition. So on the bottom, you see 3 resources, and those are some places that you could go to look for these supplements to your Seder. So reformjudaism.org, the Religious Action Center, and then Google. But some of the Seder plate editions would be like an orange for women's rights. I read about one that I've never done before. You can put fair trade chocolate on your Seder plate to talk about, slavery in that aspect. There's actually, I will just briefly show you from the reformjudaism.org, there's 8 different modern additions to your Seder plate. So Miriam's cup, they have a potato for Ethiopian jewelry. fair trade chocolate, like I said, a banana for refugees, a pine cone for prison reform. And that was one that I actually read because I was just curious, and it was very interesting talking about how the part of the pine cone that is the most valuable is inside, and you have to work really hard to get to it, and it was very interesting. So there's a lot of ways that you can modernize your Seder plate and sort of enhance that. The Miriam's cup is a more modern tradition, but instead of, we all probably know about Elijah's cup for opening the door for the prophet. And Miriam, this is one story with Passover where a woman is featured more. Miriam is Moses' sister. And so this cup, she had a well, and so you fill the cup with water, and there's a song you can sing and a prayer that you can say over Miriam's cup. The fifth child is something you could add to your Seder that kind of, you know, there's usually the wise child, the wicked child. Well, the fifth child can be for those children who passed in the Holocaust. So just another way to kind of tie it to what, you know, more modern tradition, other things that Jews have gone through. The National Council of Jewish Women usually puts out a human trafficking supplement. So again, referencing sort of a modern slavery approach. Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, which has been around for since people were coming from Ellis Island, actually publishes their own Haggadah, but also a lot of supplements. And I wrote on here multiple Haggadot because you could, you know, maybe get, there's even a Prince of Egypt Haggadah, there's an American Haggadah that has readings about American history, and you could combine these to also make your own. So again, you can check out the Religious Action Center and reformjudaism.org as well, are resources for those. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about before we go into breakout rooms was plague box or decoration. So many, many years ago when I was a kid, there was a families group at Temple Israel, and one of the events they had with Anita Krause actually at the time was they had every kid make a plague box. And my family has really just expanded this and continued to do it. And my mom decorates the table with all of these things that you see here. I don't know if they still do, but Party Land on Olive actually, or not Olive, Shoots has used to for Passover literally have all these things in individual bins and set out for the 10 plagues. And so this is just a way to involve, you know, from the youngest member to the oldest, to have all these items that represent the 10 plagues, and they have a role of finding them and holding them up and playing with them, and it's just a way for them to also experience the Seder. So I'm going to stop sharing for a minute, and I'm just going to see if anyone has any questions before we go into breakout rooms. Michelle?
The list you had for the additions to the Seder plate, is that something you could share with us?
Yeah, I will put it in the chat.
Thank you.
I took a picture of it because it was so good. I was like, oh, I need that list.
Right? So good.
Here, I'm going to put, so this is a link to reformjudaism.org, and then I'm going to put a link to the actual presentation that I made into the chat as well. And so I thought that we could just take a minute to not only, you know, introduce ourselves, but maybe share a tradition that your family has for Passover, or maybe one you heard that you're hoping to implement or look into in breakout rooms, just to get to know each other a little better. We'll probably do that for about, I don't know, 10 or so minutes, and then we'll come back and do a cooking demo. So if you haven't done breakout rooms before, it will take you there and bring you back. Martina, I think you have to make me a full host though to do that. Yep. Okay, so we should.
Hi, Leona.
Hey, Lou.
Hi.
Well, my favorite Passover tradition is that I go to Diane's house. And all I have to do is show up. Sometimes I bring food, but most of the time I just have to show up.
That's right. And it's fun. I love having her. But you're going to Illinois this year? Is that what you said?
I had the dates wrong for Passover. Genius, Sunday school teacher. We rented a house in Casey, Illinois, which is like the town that has all the giant stuff, right? Like it's normally the town you drive by and see the sign about all the giant stuff and keep going. But it's in like an outdoor park, and it's like the world's largest rocking chair and the world's largest sewing needle. It's all silly stuff, right? But it's outside, something we can take the boys to look at and take pictures and whatever. The house we rented is like right on the lake, so my dad and Doug can take the boys fishing. And the people, it must be like a vacation home for them, because the whole basement is a playroom with like a gym and like all. So like it's a little more expensive than we normally would have to just rent a house, but I feel like the entertainment is built in. Mm-hmm. Hi, Amanda Pie.
Hi, just checking on everyone.
Okay, we're just chatting. So we're driving up on Friday afternoon, and then there's like a drive-through animal park that's like 45 minutes away. So we'll do that. If there's nobody around, they have like experiences you can do, but if there's a lot of people, we won't do that. Because Doug and the boys still aren't vaccinated. The rest of us will be fully vaccinated by then. So that's pretty much it. Like, and then we're coming home Sunday. So like we plan this because it overlaps Drew's spring break, but not his birthday. Like that was the plan. Like the other weekend is his birthday. So, but then I've been telling my Hebrew school students for like a month that Passover starts on Sunday night and it starts on Saturday night. So
where are you going? I missed the beginning.
Little fail there. We rented a house in Casey, Illinois, which is like the town of all the giant things, like the chair and whatever. Right? Everybody goes, oh yeah, because they've all passed it on the highway.
Yeah.
We've never been, but it was just something to do. When we looked at going to like Branson, but we're like, it's going to be so tempting to actually go do stuff, especially for my dad. He'll be like, it's fine, we can do it. And we're like, no, there's too many people. We don't want to do that. And we found like this house has like 4 bedrooms, so we have plenty of space for just us. So some of it is just having a change of scenery, right?
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun, especially with the lake and everything.
Yeah. So, and Drew loves fishing with Daddy. That's like super fun. So I'm like, you guys go do that. Go fishing. And there's a hot tub. He's excited about the hot tub, right? Things that make, almost 8-year-olds very excited.
Right.
Yeah.
Hot tub. Yeah.
Well, good.
It'll be fun. Yeah. It's only like 2 hours away. It's no big deal.
Oh, that's not bad.
So I've been teaching my kids the 4 questions, my students. And I always tell them the story of like when I was a kid, we would go to my grandparents' house for Passover, right? Like 2 sets of grandparents. I have 3 sets of grandparents, but we would go to 2 sets of their house. And at one, we did a very, very shortened Seder, like very shortened. Like my grandfather, we used Maxwell House, right? He would read the introduction, like 2 pages, and then the grandkids would do the 4 questions. And for like years, those of us who were, half my cousins were raised kind of in interfaith families and less into the tradition, although most of them had a bar mitzvah. And then those of us who had like fully Jewish families and had more, we would like break up the questions and be like, okay, I'm going to read question 2 and you're going to read question 1. And then we would like study them really quickly before. And then at the last minute, he'd be like, Debbie, why don't you read number 1? And it'd be like,
that's not the one I was.
That's not the one I practiced, right? I mean, for years this went on. Like we never figured out that it didn't matter. He was just going to pick which one we were going to read, right? That is like my strongest memory of doing Passover at their house was like this like rush to learn one really quickly right before and then be surprised every single year.
Well, when you first said it was a very short Seder and then you said you used Maxwell House, those 2 do not go together.
Yeah, we only read like 4 pages of it.
We used Maxwell House as a kid, and oh my God, it went on forever, and you couldn't have pronounced anybody's name, and it was just, and I swore that when I had kids, it was going to be fun and interactive, and that's why the table is set with all kinds of different plagues up and down the table, and everybody gets to put sunglasses on for darkness, and we hold up the red beads for the blood, and I have those little poppers for boils, and my kids pop them all over the place, and yeah.
Ping pong balls.
Yes, that they throw at each other. But yes, and little hoppy frogs.
Yeah, we just were cleaning my parents' house out a little bit, and we convinced my dad to get rid of all the Maxwell House Haggadahs, except he had to keep one just in case. And I was like, just in case what? If we get together and do Passover, we're not using that, right? Like, I have 12 other options that are better than that. But he, nostalgic. He just had to keep one.
Schnucks at Ladue Crossing, they still have those available.
Crazy. Yeah.
Oh.
So he kept one that we'll again never use, but.
Okay, well.
We also got rid of like 30 yarmulkes, I think. Like,
he wants that for his memorabilias.
I guess. It was fun to look through all the yarmulkes and see whose bar mitzvah they were from like 20 years ago. Yeah.
Right. But yeah. So Elaine, do you have any hints, or are you still muted?
You can't get unmuted.
No. Can you unmute her?
I can't unmute her, but
there we go.
Diane,
yes.
I don't know if you remember me. I used to work at Commercial Letter with your dad.
I'm looking at you saying that you look so familiar.
When your dad passed away, I came to your house for Shiva. And then shortly thereafter, we were at Schnucks. I was at Schnucks, and you and your daughter came up. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, Gloria and they're hearing me. And you and your daughter came up the aisle. Sorry, I'm not talking about Passover for a minute. You came up the aisle because I had just been at your house and had just met you. I loved your dad. He was the best. The best. Yeah. Oh my God. Did he adore you and Brian? I'll never forget, because I worked there in the 60s, and you all were, when were you born?
I was born in 1960.
And I started working there in 63.
Okay.
So sometimes he would bring you and Brian down to the office, maybe on a Saturday. I don't know if I ever worked.
Saturdays we would go to the office with him, and
right. And I guess I was like the switchboard operator, the old-fashioned switchboards. Yep. Remember, with the plugs? Oh my God, am I dating myself? But anyway, and I guess they needed me on a Saturday, and yeah, I remember when he would bring you all in. Oh my God, he adored you. I don't have to tell you that. You know that he did.
Yeah.
So I don't belong to TI, but I'm good friends with Gloria Kaufman.
Oh, okay.
And we live across the street from one another, so I get in on some things. I think Martina, I was up on a ONEG, I think, before services one Friday night. Yeah. And I'm friends with Dorette Goldberg, but I belong to Sheremuth. Sorry. But
okay.
I've been going to classes at Sheremuth. It's like the beauty of the pandemic has opened that up in a lot of ways, which is really lovely.
Which is great.
My daughter is Amanda Stein.
That's what Gloria said.
Her mother-in-law is Rosalie Stein.
Hold on a minute. What?
You gotta go out of the room. You gotta go to my bedroom and talk. It can hear you.
I'm sorry. I have a loud voice. Okay, I am now in Gloria and Wayne's bedroom. Don't tell anyone.
Okay.
Okay. So
you're Rosalie Stein?
Yeah, from Sheremuth.
That's Amanda's mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law. Okay, got it. Do you still live in Ladue Heights?
We do.
I remember, because that's where I came. Yeah. Yeah, and I hear you are a great cook.
Well, thank you.
So are we going to do something?
We are. When we all gather back together, I'm going to make a Passover macaroni and cheese.
That's what Gloria said, and I also saw your recipe for the chocolate banana something or other.
Which my son lived on the entire week of Passover.
Oh, sounds wonderful. Sounds like something wonderful to live on.
I make granola, which I nosh on the whole week. So.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that recipe also.
Elaine, did you ever come to one of our women's seders at
I
Diane
did.
with
Actually,
Gloria?
my name's pronounced Eleni, but that's
oh,
okay.
Eleni. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay. Yes, I came with Gloria.
That's what I thought.
Was that 3 years ago or was it 2 years ago?
18 or 19. Mm-hmm. 19?
I think I've only been to one. It was wonderful. And of course, I'm sure you would have had it last year and this year had it, or
well,
perhaps you wouldn't have, but
we had to cancel it last year. And then, so obviously this year it's not happening either.
If everybody can remember to mute themselves.
Leaving break room.
And you are now back in the main room. I think everyone is back in the main room now. So if you can go ahead and mute yourself. If you need help, I can mute you. I can do it for you. Okay, Marge, okay, you're muted.
Did you hit it?
All right, the rabbis are signing off. Thank you.
Thank you.
Diane, Chef Diane, is going to do a cooking demo and talk about the recipe. So I'm going to go ahead and spotlight her for everyone. If you don't want her spotlighted, just click in the right-hand corner after I do it, and you can change it back to gallery view, or what I call the Brady Bunch view. When I said that to my students, they had no idea what I was talking about, so didn't really
all do.
So she should be spotlighted for you now. And go ahead, Mom.
Okay. So it's so nice to see so many faces here tonight and everybody interested in Passover. Most people think I'm crazy, but I love Passover. I love the holiday. I love the story. I love getting together with family. I love how as I said in my breakout group, when I was a kid, we'd go to my grandparents and we'd read from the Maxwell House Haggadah, which is so painful to read from. And the names in it are so difficult to pronounce, and it's just downright boring, for lack of a better term. So I swore when I had kids that I was going to make it interesting so that they would look forward to Passover and the Seder. And all the plagues that you saw on one of the PowerPoints that Amanda did, I have all over my table. The table is filled with all 10 plagues. My kids play with the little popper things for boils and the jumpy frogs, and we put on sunglasses when we read about darkness, and it makes it much more fun and more interesting. And I personally like the food. My kids always complained, but they never went hungry that week. My son Josh lived on these muffins that I sent you guys the recipes for. I nosh on the granola. We eat matzah brai all the time. And then there's food that you just eat that's normal food, like baked chicken or roasted potatoes or whatever. So it's not only matzah food, but I think matzah with margarine on it or butter on it is delicious. So, but I save all that for the 1 week because otherwise I'd get tired of it. But anyway, it's great. So what I'm going to demonstrate with you guys tonight is the Passover macaroni and cheese. Now, of course, we can't have noodles. So what it consists of mostly is the matzah farfel, which I'm sure you guys have all seen. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this to my computer. How do I do this? Okay, so there's the matzah farfel. You can, if you can't find it in the store, I'm gluten-free, so mine is gluten-free, and it's a lot smaller than regular matzah farfel. But you can also make farfel on your own if you just want to break up the matzah. It's not a big deal. So in here is the 3.5 cups of matzah farfel. And first what we're going to do is we're going to beat together 3 eggs. Now, since you do have to use so many eggs on Passover, if you want to use, missing something, guys, hold on. Where is my, oh, here it is. If you want to use egg beaters, that's perfectly fine. It is definitely a very hard week of eggs.
Mom, do you want to move your camera up a little bit? We can't see your face. I don't know what you wanted us to see.
I was going to show you what I'm doing.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to beat the 3 eggs together. You can do this with a mixer. You can do it by hand. I'm just going to mix it up with a whisk. You're going to preheat your oven to 350, which I have already done. And I have sprayed a 9x13 glass pan with Pam already. So I'm Those are all whisked really well. And then I'm going to pour it over the farfel. So 3½ cups of farfel and 3 eggs. And I'm just going to mix all this together. Okay. It ends up being a casserole that's a little like a baked matzo brei, maybe. Okay, so make sure that all the farfel is coated. And then we're going to add 1 pound of cottage cheese, which I have measured out in a bowl because my container was 24 ounces. So I just weighed out a pound of it. So I'm going to add that to my farfel. Okay, along with a cup of milk. Okay, which I've already measured out. If you're dairy free, I'm not sure what you could use instead of the cottage cheese. I don't know, Michelle, you might have to help us with that since you're my dairy-free person here. You can use alternative regular cheese. You can use almond milk or oat milk instead of the dairy milk. So, okay, so we're gonna leave this as it is. So add the cottage cheese and the milk, it's all mixed in with the farfel. And then what we're gonna do is, I have my sour cream, which is a pint of sour cream. And you need to change the recipe. The butter should be melted. So I'm gonna go microwave my butter. So just make a little note by your 1 stick of butter that it should be melted. So I'm gonna put this in the microwave real quick.
Well, while she does, I'll just tell a funny story. This casserole, I went to a school where there were not a lot of, a college there were not a lot of Jewish students. So there's not kosher Passover meals or anything like that. And I would make this like before Passover, and I would literally eat on this casserole for the entire week of Passover when I was in college. Like that, this is what I had for Passover. I would go to the cafeteria with my friends and like have a salad, and then I would go back to my dorm and eat a slice of this. That was Passover in college. It was pretty crazy. Pretty
That
funny.
sounds so good.
And it got her through the week.
I bet all your like roommate, I bet everyone wanted some.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm gonna add my salt and pepper to the farfel mixture. There's my salt. All right, mix up my melted butter here. Oops. Yeah, so just make sure you change that it needs to be melted butter there. All right, and I've already sprayed my pan. Now you can also make this if you want to make it like a one pot meal and add your veggies to it. You can put in a 10-ounce package of chopped broccoli or chopped spinach. You could cut up some heads of fresh broccoli if you'd like, or some fresh spinach, just to add a little color and some veggies to it. That would be fine. So I've grated my cheese. I had some different cheeses in the refrigerator, and I have a package of Colby Jack cheese. You can use whatever kind of cheese you want, even though it says cheddar cheese. If you like the, what is that, spicy cheese? I don't like it because I'm not a spicy person.
Pepper jack.
Thank you. Pepper jack cheese. You're welcome to do that. So now what we're going to do is you're going to layer, you just layer it in. So we're going to start with the farfel. And
Mom, do you want to move the camera so we can see the pan, the 8, 9, or move the pan?
Yeah, let me put some of these dishes in the sink. Okay. All right. I need my techie person to help me with that. Okay. Tell me when I'm not in the visual line of everyone. Okay. So here is, you can't really see it because it's, here we go. How's that? Now can you see my pan?
Yes.
Okay. So there's my pan, and I have sprayed it with Pam. And we are going to put a layer of the farfel in the bottom of the pan. Kind of like a lasagna, I guess. Which is another thing you can make with matzah. And instead of, if you've ever used those no-baked noodles, you just put those in the pan. And that's how you do with the matzah. You just put the matzah in the pan and cover it with spaghetti sauce or marinara sauce. And then layer it just like you would any lasagna. Okay, so there's a layer. There's a layer of the matzah with the cottage cheese and the milk. Okay, just even it out. And then the recipe says we're going to add the cheese and the sour cream and the butter, and then we're going to repeat. So we're going to add a little bit of cheese. Sprinkle the cheese on. Okay. Spread that around. And then we're going to put some of the sour cream on. And if you just put like little drops, and then you can take your spatula and just smooth it out. Okay. And then we'll just kind of smooth that out, just kind of like dollops, and the sour cream will melt and spread on its own. We're just going to help it out a little bit. Okay. All righty, and then we're going to pour some of the butter over it. Just like half of it. We'll save the other half for the other layer. Okay. Amanda, did you have a kitchen in your dorm? I don't remember.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
We did.
All right. Now we're going to repeat. And we're going to put the last layer of this on it. All right, so we're going to cover that really well. And this is really very filling, and you can eat it with a salad and some steamed broccoli, and it makes a wonderful meal. Okay, so there's the second layer. And then a little more cheese. And we're gonna finish with the cheese too, so I'm not gonna put a whole lot on here. Okay, and then the rest of the sour cream. Kind of a rich entree, but oh so good. So you could probably, I'm trying to figure out how you can do without the dairy, but I'm not really sure. You can substitute the shredded cheese, but I don't know about the rest of it. And also use margarine. I don't know if there's non-dairy cottage cheese like there is non-dairy other stuff.
There is lactose-free cottage cheese. And also there's a non-dairy sour cream too. It's a tofuti brand. Yeah. Just good. I don't know if combining all of the non-dairy things together, I don't know how that would sit with the stomach, but I mean, this all looks delicious.
Yeah, I know about the tofuti sour cream. I didn't realize that there was lactose-free.
Yeah, I think it's a Lactaid brand. It's not bad.
Oh, good. Okay, so then the butter again, and then we're going to end with the cheese. Okay, and you bake it in a 350-degree oven, covered for a little bit, and then uncovered for some of it. All right, and we're going to end with a nice layer of cheese. I have Colby Jack here. A nice thick layer of cheese. Make it good and cheesy since it is a mac and cheese. There's all kinds of things you can do with farfalle and matzah. I make farfalle latkes sometimes. You can make a lasagna with the matzah. You can make matzah pizza. All right, so there it is, ready to go in the oven. Let's get some tin foil and we'll cover it up. So we'll cover it kind of tightly. And we'll put it in at 350 for 30 minutes, and then we're going to take the foil off and bake it another 10 minutes uncovered. So
we, oh, go ahead. We won't, we probably won't have enough time tonight to see it come out of the oven, but we can certainly, you know, take questions, or if you had questions about the other recipes, when she gets back, she'll put her camera more up. Marge, here, I'm going to help you unmute, and then you can ask a question. Hold on, you're still muted. There you go, Marge. Go ahead.
Right. Can that be frozen?
Yes. In fact, I'm going to freeze it after it cools tonight and put it in the freezer for me to use during the week of Passover.
I'm thinking with all the work, you know, it might be one thing that you could make ahead of time.
Yes.
And take it out.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And I wanted to show you all the muffins. So I made these this morning. Let's see. There we go. Oh, what did I just do, Amanda? Hold on.
Nothing. You're fine. You're right there. You just need to move your camera.
Oh,
okay.
Those are beautiful.
So
those are the banana?
These are the banana chocolate chip muffins.
Oh my God.
There's 10 on the plate. It made 15. My husband ate 5 of them already. So it's not even Passover and he ate them. So.
Good for Mike.
And then here is the granola. And I put dried fruit in mine and nuts. If you're allergic to nuts, you don't need to put the nuts in. As you can see, it looks just like regular granola. And I used matzo farfel for this. And I have dried apples in it and dried craisins. And I have almonds and walnuts and pecans. And you can put milk on it and eat it as cereal. You can put it on yogurt, cottage cheese. It's just a nice, put it in a little cup and just eat it as a snack. It's just a nice,
on ice cream.
You can put it on ice cream. And it's kosher for Passover, and it's delicious. It's one of my favorite things.
Good.
So if anybody else has any other questions?
Catherine?
Are egg noodles kosher for Passover?
Is what kosher for Passover?
Egg noodles.
Egg noodles.
Well, they do have kosher for Passover egg noodles in the kosher for Passover section. But regular egg noodles are not, because they are made with flour.
Thank you.
What about gluten-free noodles?
They have those kosher for Passover too.
Mm-hmm. But they don't have any flour.
No. Oh, you mean the
They
regular
do,
one?
but it's not wheat.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe you could use regular ones. Like I just saw some in the grocery store today that were red lentil pasta. I don't think there's flour in them. It's just red lentil. It's red lentil flour. So I would think that might be kosher for Passover because it's not.
Well, you know that lovely market, Global Foods in Kirkwood?
Yes, I haven't been there in a long time.
Okay, down the Asian aisle. That's where I go for a lot of pasta because it's all made with rice. They don't have wheat.
Right.
So you could use something like that. I think an awful lot of the gluten-free foods could be Passover.
They probably could be.
Some of the breads, they don't use wheat. They use other forms of flour.
Mm-hmm. But luckily this year, there's a lot of gluten-free products. Last year, there were not so many. This year, for the first time in the 7 years I've been gluten-free, I found gluten-free egg matzah. I've never found gluten-free egg matzah before. But they do have it this year.
As a vegetarian, and because I'm always looking for interesting pastas, like last night we had the black soy pasta. I get the lentil pasta all the time. There are cauliflower things. They're really good. I would encourage you to try them, and they're pretty because they tend to be colorful.
Yes, I did just buy cauliflower pasta. I haven't used it yet, but
either.
I figured, well, sounds good, and there's probably low in carbs too.
Cauliflower crust pizza is also really good.
They always surprise me.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. Diane, I was going to ask, my favorite matzah style growing up was just with peanut butter and jelly. And are there recipes like with peanut butter, or that would be something like that to expand on that?
Yes, that's amazing. I love nut butters on matzah. And I probably go through a whole jar in the week and just matzah. I just love it. I think it's delicious.
Matzah with jelly. Wow.
Yeah.
Peanut butter is the base.
Although this is on your list, is there any tips you'd have on matzah brie, making it something special you put in yours?
Well, I always, once in a while, I would fry up some salami and put some salami in it, but you wouldn't do that. Onions and mushrooms, saute some onions and mushrooms and throw those in when you're done.
Oh.
That's really good.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. So even some spinach, saute some spinach in with the onions and mushrooms and then make the matzo brie.
Yeah, I guess you could almost treat it like an omelet too, if you wanted to, and add everything after. Thank you. Great idea.
So.
Thank you very much, Diane.
You're welcome.
This is a crazy question. I don't use a lot of butter in things. I'm sure butter adds a lot taste-wise to that casserole, but would it work without it, do you think, or with just a fraction of it?
Yeah, you could probably get by with half of it.
Because that looks delicious.
And those plant-based butters that are out now, made with avocado oil and olive oil, those are excellent. You could use that in place of butter.
So does your casserole taste almost like a dessert, do you think?
No, it almost tastes like baked matzo brei, but very cheesy.
So cinnamon probably would not be the thing to put on top.
You probably could. I don't think it would matter. You could probably also, if you wanted to go the savory route, you could probably put some sauteed onions and mushrooms in the casserole, which would be tasty.
Or you could even put in some craisins or raisins.
Yes, you could, and make it like a kugel.
Yeah. Oh boy, what a great recipe.
Yeah.
Add-ons too, thank you.
Right. You know, and it could be a side dish.
Well, it could be a main dish. It just sounds delicious.
Yeah. You know, I could see it with maybe like a fillet of salmon as a little side dish with a salad or some steamed broccoli. It would be delicious.
Everybody has a matzo ball recipe, but having tasted yours, they're so delicious. Is there something special you do with yours?
No, make sure that you do put it in the refrigerator like the recipe says for those 15 minutes. And then, you know, scoop them out. I have like a little
ice cream scoop or something.
An ice cream scoop. I have like a cookie scooper that makes them a little smaller because they will puff up and get bigger in the water. So if you make them too big, then they're just, you know, then they'll be on top of each other. But
good. You know, my mom very conscientiously stood at the elbow of her maybe 4'5" grandmother, my great grandmother, to measure everything after Baba measured it for matzo balls and got everything written down. And do you know it was exactly the same as the recipe on the farfel box?
Oh my goodness. Because I'm sure she cooked handfuls of stuff, right? Yes. My great aunt did that too. And my cousin sat next to her one day and gave her several recipes. And as she scooped up the flour, my cousin had the measuring cup there to see how much it was.
They knew.
Yeah. And it always worked for them. Even if it wasn't the same amount each time, it always worked.
So where do you shop for your Passover products?
The Schnucks at Ladue Crossing is the best. They have most stuff.
We were there yesterday and they have a lot.
They do have a lot.
Especially if you want snacks.
Yes. Yes.
Pretzels and chips and oh my goodness.
Yes, they have potato chips. They have, and in my case, they had gluten-free crackers. Like I said, they had gluten-free egg matzah, which I've never seen, regular matzah. They have gluten-free farfel and matzah meal and cake meal. So they really do have a lot of variety there. And actually the little Schnucks at Spady and Olive, they had a good selection of stuff too. So.
Very fun. I wish we could taste the casserole.
I know, I wish you could too. So, but
it smells good.
And then you can have muffins for dessert.
Eat the muffins first.
There you go.
I'm sure we will, you know, we have in the works to potentially do more Dishing with Diane's in the future for different topics. I know that there's, Martina, do you want to talk a little bit about the women's event that's coming up, unless it's full? I don't know.
We have, so Women's Connection, Temple Israel's Women's Connection usually hosts a women's Seder. Unfortunately, last year we had to cancel, and obviously even this year we can still be together in person. So we are doing a how to virtual Seder workshop on Monday. If you would like to sign up, it's still open. It is via our website. Diane will be actually one of the presenters as well. Rabbi Amy will talk about personalizing and creating a personalized Haggadah for your family. We will have a gratitude meditation with Rabbi Jessica Marshall and Julie Aronson, Rob Aronson's wife, is going to talk about music and Passover, you know, how you can pick the best music for your Passover Seder. And last but not least, our own catering kitchen manager at TI, Debbie Jennings, is going to show how to personalize matzahs with chocolates and put names on there and all the different things you could do with it. So if you're interested, feel free to still sign up via the website.
That chocolate covered matzah, which I tasted as an adult maybe 10 years ago, is like the best matzah I've ever tasted. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Martina. Yeah, and thank everybody. Thank you to all of you for coming. We enjoy doing the Dishing with Diane.
This has been a lot of fun. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. And I enjoy being with you guys. It's great.
Yeah, and if you have any questions or anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. And we look forward to seeing you the next one.
I just wanted to
have a happy and joyous Passover.
Is this the end? Is this the end?
It is, unless you have a question. We don't have anything else for you, Marge.
No, I'm just waiting to see Diane do all her magic.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to make another one earlier today to bring out and say, and this is what it looks like. I made the muffins, I made the granola, and I had a few other things I had to do. So